June 2022, paper 1 solutions, question 1. -3 squared plus -2 squared is equal to 13. How do I know that? -3 squared is 9 plus 4 is 13. Question 2. What is the value of the digit in the number 48.621? Now, the first digit after the decimal point is in the tens place. The second digit is in the hundredths, with the ending with a th place, and the 1 is in the thousandths place. So our answer is going to be A, 200ths. Question 3. What number, when added to 1 and 1/3, gives 2? The answer is 2/3. Now, if you looked at this and you couldn't figure it out, you can go the long route of subtracting 1 1/3 from 2. Question 4. The next number in the sequence is, well, we can see here that the sequence is increasing. 1 plus 5 is going to give me 6. 6 plus 7 is going to give me 13. And 13 plus 9 is going to give me 22. 22 plus 11 is giving me 33. And 33 plus 13 is going to give me 46. So my answer is C. Question 5. If 30% of a number is 45, what is 4/5 of the number? To determine this, we have to find out what the number is first. They tell us that 45 is equal to 30%. So once we find the inverse of this, multiply by 100 over 30, we will know what the number is. 15 into 30 is 2, 15 into 45 is 3, 2 into 2 is 1, and 2 into 100 is 50, and 3 by 50 is going to give us 150. Question wants to know what is 4/5 of that number. So I have to find 4/5 of 150. 5 into 5, 1. And 5 can go into 150 30 times. 4 by 30 is going to give me 120. So my answer for number 5 is going to be B. Question 6. A certain amount of money is shared in the ratio 2:3:9. If the difference between the first and second shares is 40, the amount of money shared is going to be what? They said the difference between the first and second share. What's the difference between 3 and 2? The difference between 3 and 2 is 1. And they're telling us here that 1 is equal to 40. So 1 share is equal to 40. If 1 share is equal to 40, then 2 shares is going to be equal to 80. 3 shares is going to be equal to 120, and 9 shares is going to be equal to 360. And when I add this, I'm getting a total of 560. So my answer for question 6 is going to be D. Question 7. If P is equal to 2357, Q is equal to 236, S is equal to 245, then P intersect Q intersect S is going to give me what? Now let's look at the options. What does P intersect Q intersect S means? What do we have in P that is in Q and that is in S? What do all of them have in common? And we can see here that each set has 2 in common. So question 7 is going to be A. Question 8. Item 8 refers to the following Venn diagram. The shaded region represents, as we can see here in this diagram, everything but P is shaded. So the shaded region represents everything that is not in P. So it's P prime. The answer is going to be A. Question 9. The element of the set X is such that is such that 6 is less than or equal to X is less than 10, where X is an integer, and we have to select the correct answer. Now, question, what is an integer? An integer is a whole number, okay? A number that is not a fraction. So the elements of this set will start from 6, and it's going to be less than 10. So it's going to start 6, and the last digit is going to be less than 10. So the answer for question 9 is going to be B. Last question for this set. Items 10 refers to the following information. M is equal to PQR and N is equal to PQ. Which of the following statement is true? Statement 1 reads, M is a subset of N. That's not true. M intersect N is equal to N. Now let's examine that. M intersects M equal to N. The answer is definitely going to be B. M intersects M. What do both of them have in common? They have PQ and PQ, and that is also equal to set N. Item 11 refers to the following information which describes three sets. P prime numbers, Q odd numbers, R even numbers. Which one of the following sets is empty? Now, they didn't give us any number, but for the purpose of this question, I wrote a few elements in each of the sets between 0 and 19. This will help us to answer the question. Some of you all may not need to do this, and then again, some of you all may need to do this. So what are prime numbers? Prime numbers are divisible by itself and 1. In other words, it only has two factors. Odd numbers ends with what? 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. Even numbers end with what? They are divisible by 2 and they end with 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. So that's just to remind you all about that. The question wants us to know which one of the following sets is empty. P intersect R. This is what this symbol means. It means what does P and R have in common? Now, set P is prime and R is even. So if we look at the elements that I created here for you all, remember they didn't give you this, we can see that they have 2 in common. 2 is the only prime number that is also even. So this set is not empty. Let's look at the next one. P union Q. P union Q means what? Everything that is in P and Q, and we have elements for that set. So that set is not empty. P intersect Q. What does P and Q have in common? They have quite a few elements that are in common. For example, 3, 5, 7, and so on. Okay, so that set is not empty. And here we have Q intersect R. Q intersect R. What odd number is even? There are no odd numbers that are even numbers. So the answer is D. This set is empty because we have no elements for this set. Question 12 wants us to determine how many students play exactly one game. As we can see here, this T represents those that play tennis, the C represents those that play chess. So the question wants us to determine how many students play exactly one game. Now we can see here that the students who play chess also play tennis. So they play 2 games. All right. Now the question wants us to determine how many students play exactly one game. So the students that play exactly one game are the students who play chess, and that's going to be Alex, Tom, Kayla, and Ali. The answer for number 12 is going to be 4. 4 students play exactly one game. Question 13. A dress which costs $180 is being sold at a discount of 10%. The amount of discount is going to be $18. All I have to do is to find 10% of 180, and we are going to get $18. Okay, this 0 could cancel off this 0 can cancel off this 0, and you see I'm getting 18. So my discount is 18. Question 14. The cost of a refrigerator is $1,850. If a tax of 5% is paid on the cost price of the refrigerator, a buyer who purchases the refrigerator by cash will pay what? You will pay the cost including the tax. There are 2 ways we can do this. We can find 5% of 1,850, and that is going to give us a total of $92.50. And we can add 1,850 and our $92.50, and that's going to give us a total of $1,942.50. Another way we can work this question out is by adding 100% and 5%, and that's going to give us a total of 105%. And all we have to do is find 105% of the cost price, and this is going to give us, once we simplify, is going to give us the same answer as $1,942.50. Okay, so whichever method you use, it's fine. Use the method that is easier for you. 15. A salesman sells a car for $11,000. If he is paid a commission of 4.5%, 10,000 and 7.5% on the remainder, then the commission he receives is what? Okay, so they tell us on the first 10,000, he is getting a commission of 4.5%. We can divide 4.5 by 100 and get 0.045. Once you multiply this, you'll see that the commission he receives on the first 10,000 is $450. Now the remainder is 1,000, and the question tells us that he receives 7.5%, which could also be written as 0.075 on this 1,000, and once we multiply, we are going to get $75. And once we add 450 and 75, we are going to get a total of $525 as his commission. Question 16. Also, one of the questions I did here, there was an error on the paper, so I look forward to your feedback on that. Question 16 reads, the value of a plot of land is $18,000. Land tax is charged at the rate of 70 cents per $100 value. What is the total amount of tax for the land? Okay, now if the tax is at a rate of 70 cents per $100 value, one of the first things I can do is divide my 18,000 by 100, and I will get 180. And then secondly, I would multiply that by 0.70, and that is going to give me a total of $126. So the amount of tax for the land would be $126. The answer is B. Question 17. A man's basic wage 40-hour week is $160. He is paid overtime at a rate of 1.25 times the hourly rate. If he works 6.5 hours overtime in a certain week, his wage for that week is, let's look at this question. His basic wage is $160 and he works for 40 hours in 1 week. So if we divide 160 and 40, we would get $4. $4 represents what he works for in 1 hour. Now the question tells us that he is paid 1.25 times 1.25 the hourly rate. So if I multiply 1.25 by 4, this will tell me his overtime rate. His overtime rate is $5. The question went on to say that if he works 6.5 hours overtime in a certain week, what would his wage be? So if he works 6.5 hours, that's 6.5 multiply, this is overtime I'm calculating, by 5 is going to give me $32.50. Now, to figure out his weekly wage, I'll have to add what he works for in 40 hours, $160, and his overtime of $32.50, and I'll get $192.50. So the answer for question 17 is D. Question 18. At the end of any year, a car is worth 5% less than what it was worth at the beginning of the year. If a car is worth $9,500 in December 2016, then its value in January was, so the information they give us here is that 9,500 represents only 95% of the value of the car at the end of the year. So with this information, I can, and there are more than one ways we can work out the sum. I'm going to divide to get my answer to figure out the original amount, the original value of the car in January. So it's going to be 9,500 over 1 multiplied by 100 over 95. 95 into 9,500, 100. So 100 multiplied by 100 is giving me 10,000. So the value of this car in January 2016 is going to be 10,000. So the answer for question 18 is C. Question 90. Now, to be honest with you all, I honestly believe that CXC made an error with the options that they give you all. Let us work it out. I encourage you all, I invite everyone, work out the question, put the answer that you're getting, and tell me what you think, okay? So a loan of 8,000 was repaid in 24 equal monthly installments of $400. The rate of interest on the loan was, they want us to calculate the rate of interest. Now, what is the formula for finding simple interest? Let's start there. To find simple interest is principal by rate by time over 100. This question wants us to find the rate. So we would have to make R the subject of the formula. So that means to determine the rate is going to be simple interest multiply by 100 divided by principal multiplied by time. Now that we know the formula we're using, let's see the information that was given. They gave us the principal amount. They told us that this loan was repaid in 24 equal monthly installments of $400. So we can work out that 400 multiplied by 24 and we'll be able to determine the interest. So 400 multiplied by 24 is going to give me 9,600. Now this 9,600 would represent the amount of money that was repaid. Now from this we can determine the interest was. Okay, so if we subtract 8,000, which was the principal amount, from this, we would be able to determine the interest that was paid. So 9,600 subtract 1,600. So 9,600 subtract 8,000 is going to give me 1,600. So 1,600 represents the simple interest. Okay, so now we have the simple interest, which is 1,600 multiplied by 100 over what is the principal amount? The principal amount is 8,000 multiplied by time, which is, we write our time in years. 24 months is 2 years. So let us simplify this. Several ways we can do this. All right, I really want everyone to see this, so I'll take it slow. These two zeros could cancel out, let's say, these two zeros. This 1 0 cancels out this 0. I have 2 into 2, 1. 2 into 10 is 5. I have 8 into 8 is 1. 8 into 16 is 2. 2 5s are 10. So this is telling me that the rate is 10%. However, 10% was not given, and I know most people might have worked it out and put 20%. But I don't agree with any of the options that CXC gave here, so my answer is 10%. I want to encourage you all to work it out and tell me what you all are getting as well. But I am getting 10% and anything is. Now, if I'm wrong, I'll take it, huh? But y'all, tell me what y'all. Question 20. At a sale, each book was marked $3 off the original. Daniel paid $46 for 2 books that had the same sale price. What was the original cost of one of his books? Okay, so he paid $46 for 2 books and both of them had the original sales price. So we would divide 2 into 2, 1, 2 into 4 is 2, 2 into 6 is 3. When we divide, we are getting that the cost of one of the books would be $23. Now they said that $3 was taken off each book. So if I add $3 back here, this will tell me that the original cost of one of the books he bought was $26. So the answer for question 20 is this: 3x squared times 2x cubed. First thing we're going to do is multiply the numbers. 3 times 2 is 6. We have the same base. We have x squared times x to the power of 3. What do we do when we are multiplying exponents? When we are multiplying indices, we add the powers. 2 plus 3 is 5. So it's going to be 6x to the power of 5. The answer is going to be A. Question 22. If 5, open brackets, 2x minus 1 is equal to 35, then x is equal to, so we have to solve for x. Let's expand the brackets. 5 by 2x is going to give us 10. 5 by negative 1 is going to give us negative 5 is equal to 35. Okay, leave everything that has x on one side and take everything on the other side that doesn't. This -5 becomes a +5. 10x is equal to 40. So therefore, x is going to be equal to 4. So the answer is going to be D, +4. Question 23. It reads, when twice a certain number is subtracted from 7 and the result is multiplied by 3, the answer is 33. What is the original number? Okay, so I'm going to set this up. When twice a certain number, we don't know what that number is, so that number is going to be x. Okay, when twice a certain number is subtracted from 7, so 2x is going to be subtracted from 7. The result is multiplied by 3. So the answer is 33. So now that I have this, I'm going to simplify this. 3 7s are 21. 3 by -2x is going to give us -6x is equal to 33. And I'm solving for x because I want to know what that number is. I'm going to leave everything that has x on this side and take everything that doesn't have x on the other side. 33 take away 21. I'm getting 6x is equal to 12. I want of x, so I'm going to divide by -6 on both sides. And that's going to give me the value of x to be -2. So my answer is B. Question 24. Given that 3 asterisk 6 is equal to 12 and 2 asterisk 5 is equal to 9, then A asterisk B may be defined as. Some of you might attempt each one of it before you determine which one is the correct answer. Here we want to get 12, so I'm seeing here that if we multiply 3 by 2, I'll get 6, and then 6 plus 6 is 12. And I want to get 9, so I know that 4 plus 5 is 9. So if I multiply 2 by 2, I'll get 4, and 4 plus 5 is also 9. So that means this A asterisk B would be defined as D, 2A plus B. A is the first number, so it's 2 times A, 2 times 3, plus what was B? 6. So you see, I got 2 3s are 6, and 6 plus 6 is 12. And the same thing for the second part. 2 times A, 2 times the first number, plus 5. 2 2s are 4, plus 5 is 9. Question 20. Determinant of a 2 by 2 identity matrix is. Now, before you look at this question, you have to know what an identity matrix is. An identity matrix is a square matrix with 1s in the main diagonal and 0s everywhere else. Okay, so this is a 2 by 2 identity matrix. And now what we're going to do is find the determinants. We can find the determinants by multiplying here and then subtracting it from here. So here is A, B, C, and D. So multiplying AD and subtracting it from BC. AD is 1 times 1, which is 1. Subtract BC, which is 0 times 0, which is 0. Getting the determinant to be 1. So the answer is E. Item 29 refers to the following vectors P and Q. P is 3, 7, while Q is -2, 5. And the question says that the vector P minus Q is represented by, so all we need to do is subtract P and Q. 3 subtract -2, and negative multiply by a negative is a plus. So 3 plus 2 is 5, and 7 take away 5 is 2. So we're getting 5, 2, and that's going to be C. Item 30 refers to the parallelogram WXYZ. In the parallelogram, XY is equal to U and XW is equal to V. R is the midpoint of YZ. WR expressed in terms of U and V is. Now, before we attempt this question, this is a parallelogram. So the opposite sides of the parallelogram are equal in measure and they are parallel to each other. So if XY is equal to U, then WZ is also going to be U. Secondly, if XW is V, then YZ is also going to be V. Okay, and the question tells us that R is the midpoint of Y and Z. So if YZ is V, then YR would be a half of V, and RZ would also be a half of V. So the question wants us to express WR in terms of U and V. So how am I going to get from W to R? I can go WZ. I know the value of that is U. And I can go ZR. I'm going in the opposite direction. You notice the line is in this direction and I am going ZR, the opposite direction. So that's why I'm going to have a negative sign here. And I know that ZR is a half of V. So with that being said, WR expressed in terms of U and V is U minus a half of V. The answer is A.